And one name that has been floating around is Pete Alonso. The Polar Bears' final days in
Mm,
Queens might be coming to an end very soon. His name's
wow.
been floating around heavily. Are you surprised that the Mets are willing to move on from Pete Alonso? Personally, I feel like he's the Aaron Judge of the Mets. He is a free agent at the end of the year, and he's not having a great year so far. But Alonso has been open about wanting to stay a New York Met for the rest of his career. But it seems like Uncle Stevie does not care at all.
No, you got to dump him. You have to. Like, you need assets. The Mets are down bad. And when I say down bad, I mean it's just like your typical Mets. Yes, I know that they're playing well as of late, but you need assets for Alonso. Go trade him to I don't even know to a team to trade him to. If you were going to
The
trade him to
Yankees.
somewhere, I don't want him. I
He's
don't.
he's the favorite spot right now to land there, or
Oh
the
my
Cubs.
God.
Yeah, I mean, I to be honest with you, that's I wouldn't want him. I would trade him to
That's
like
crazy.
I don't know. I would trade him to
Pittsburgh.
yeah. I'm trying to think of a team that I would trade. Like I would trade him to the Padres, dude. The Padres literally give hauls out for guys left and right. So like Woo Suk Gu and everybody else that they've traded, might as well just add another one to the list. So yeah, I would just I would get rid of him. And it has nothing to do with Pete Alonso. It has everything to do with where that organization's at.
I see where you're coming from, Dino. The thing that just doesn't make sense to me though is they Uncle Steve, as you eloquently put, Jedi, has had no problem giving out contracts and dumping those contracts. Max Scherzer, wasn't DeGrom one of them as well? Like as soon as they signed it, they were out the door after that debacle of a season. So when an all-star comes out and a great first baseman comes out and says, "I want to stay here," he's gonna be your only asset. You can sign him to a decent deal that another team's gonna be able to take on. Steve Cohen's already shown that he can eat salary cap basically or contracts. Keep him, sign him long term. If you don't, if it doesn't work out over the next year or two, you can be able to dump him.
Right now he's batting 232 with 15 home runs, and his OPS is currently 771. That's very low for him.
It's a down year. Yeah.
He has normally, I think, like a little bit in the high of an 800 because he does strike out a lot, but still, 15 home runs is a decent amount. But I don't think it's a Pete Alonso amount. He should be at 20.
Him. I'm dumping him.
I don't know. I think
he's been down, but like what? Yeah, go ahead.
When I think of the New York Mets, I think of Pete Alonso. I don't think of Francisco Lindor. I don't think of Jeff McNeil, Brandon Nimmo, whoever the heck it is. I don't think of them. I think of Pete Alonso. And I think it's very strange that they're just so willing to get rid of him, especially him being vocal about wanting to stay.
Right. So Dino, you wouldn't want this in production. He's having his worst year in 7 years. The past 5 years, he went home runs 46, 40, 37, 16 was a down one, and then 53. So, 100 RBIs in 4 out of those 5 seasons. So I'm taking him all day that he's going to have a bounce back year. He's definitely not performing to his standard.
No, and I agree with that. But my question then is if he's not performing to that, what type of contract is he looking for? I'm not signing that to $250, $300 million. I'm not doing it.
And I will say he's probably looking north of like 200, maybe 250. I believe the Mets offered him like 150 and he declined it for I think it was like 6 years or something. And he said no.
Yeah. The only thing would be shorter years, right?
Which I think you have to go with that route because I believe he's like 30. I think he's like maybe like a year younger than Judge or something, like 2 years younger than Judge. So you definitely have to go that route with like a 5-year contract. But we'll keep you up to date with that, with any news that goes along with the Pete Alonso trade talks.